Yeah, good morning and welcome to iBrand Daybreak, your favorite TV show. And I'm so delighted and excited to be on your screens this beautiful Monday morning. How are you? And I know you're asking how I am too. I'm fine, thank you. I've missed you guys, right? All right, today is Monday and it's an opportunity to start up your week and to write your week how you want the week to go. It's February, yeah, it's February. So it's my first show for you in February. My first show, not Ivan's first show. So I'm delighted to be on your screens this morning. My name is Margaret Opera. And of course, joining me this beautiful Monday morning is my amazing colleague here. Good morning, Perpetual.
Good morning, good to have you back.
Good to have you too.
And you look beautiful as always.
Oh, thank you so much, Perpetual. You too.
A wonderful morning to you and thanks again for joining us this morning. We are ever excited to have you join us. It's the 7th day in February 2022 and yes, just 6-7 days gone in February. We have a few more days to go and I hope you'll stay consistent about pursuing your goals, especially, you know, the New Year resolutions. I hope you've not discarded the resolutions. I hope you're working towards achieving them. Wonderful morning to you one more time. I am Perpetua Fasomi Peter. Well, on the show today, you know what to expect. It's Monday, so first we're having this wonderful time with you, yes, and after which we'll have the newspaper review, and then we have an interesting discussion for today, which I do not think you should miss for anything. And yes, the AFCON final was yesterday, so we are going together just today.
The sports part, right? The sports segment is waiting for us live.
I mean, that was a shootout. That was a wonderful one. That was it.
And social media is buzzing. Everyone is congratulating Senegal.
Yes, like, it's their first. I'm super excited for them.
They did a great job.
They did a great job. For that. I mean, the extra time, everything ended in deadlock.
No, I can see the energy, the synergy between the players, the energy they brought out their best. I think they saved the best for the last. Or is it that they've been the best all through? But there's still something about yesterday's match. It was amazing.
I mean, I was impressed. Senegal had it, as if I'm going to share from it. Anyway, so we have then after that we'll have social media buzz and the quote with which we wrap up the show for you today.
All right, now before we go into all of that, we'll just take the paper review segment now. We'll be reviewing some top stories on the national dailies this morning. Excuse me. And the first story here is from The Nation. It says, ASU begins mobilization for another strike in varsities. And the writer to the story says, final decision slated for February 14. I'll go to the bottom stream of the paper that says, I will never betray your trust if rejected, Governor Oyetola promises. And that's on page 6. And also the earpiece of the paper says, Oni's defection to APCA unsettles PDP. Rider says, Fireshare 6 utility, and that's on page 5. General Minima's passport seized over probe into 3.8 billion naira fraud. And page 7 has the story. And the next one, Maine leads Senegal to AFCON glory. Yeah, that's the story we're just talking about now. Atiku abandoned Benue in trying times, says Autumn. Under government FEM disagree on OML 108 fire report. 5 killed in court clash, okay? MTN's new shareholders get 5.7 billion naira dividends, and the writer says return on investment is 24%. And finally, on The Nation, the story on page 5, no territory under terror groups, federal government insists. And that story continues on page 5 of The Nation.
All right, checking out what we have from this morning. The banner headline reads, Nigeria needs young, energetic president in 2023, and that's coming from Abdul Salami. This story has 3 riders, first being how our presidential candidates will emerge, PDP reveals. Wike, Nigeria will shake when South takes position on 2023. Okay, and finally, PDP warns Matawale against plot to sack deputy. Away from that story, despite inauguration of new APC chairman, crisis persists in 13 states with the rider Lai Mohammed, Ngige Okorocha Wamako, Abe's factions spit fire. And that's all from this day paper. Okay, we have 2 more stories. This says power supply partially restored as Egmi plant resumes operations. You'll find that on page 5. And then the last story here reads, oil prices head for $100 as Bonny Light sells for $95. That's oil prices heading for $100 as Bonny Light sells for $95. With the riders, federal government, others embark on joint probe of Sepcoal FFCO explosion. The second rider, 10 crew members still missing. That's a sad one. That story is from the front page and it continues on page 6.
All right, now to the Punch paper. The top story here says NIMC portal breaks down. Banks, telecos, passports, insurance, so far. And we have right after the story that says downtime enters 6th day. MTN, Glo, Airtel, others suspend SIM replacement acquisition. Immigration may rebook passport applicants' appointment as glitch stalls NIN registry verification. I beg your pardon. Telecos lose millions, customers verification affected. NIMC apologizes as engineers battle crisis. That's on page 31. White American prostitute jailed 12 months for 57.8 trillion naira fraud in Kwara State, and that's on page 5. Under plans TSA implementation to block leakages, curtail fraud. Police arrests Benin's alleged trans-border kidnapper, recover 2.3 million naira, and the story is on page 5. And there's this one that an article here that says, can Nigeria be said perform disintegrating? Collectively, yes, we can. And that's an article on the front page of the Punch. And there's a pictorial presentation of the victory of Senegal, the just concluded AFCON. And further down, the bottom strip says, Oyetola supporters tampoon Aregbeshola's ex-commissioner for attacking governor. Housewife 30 stabs 18-year-old husband's nephew to death over broken mirror in Ogun State. Dismissed DPO fleeing kingpin arrested. NDLEA seizes 22 codeine in Lagos port. And now let's move to the earpiece of the paper that says, investors commit 3.38 trillion naira federal government bonds in 12 months. Oversubscription hits 1.6 trillion naira. That's on page 32. External reserves slide into 4 months low at 39.98 billion naira. And finally, on the Punch, this story here says on page 2, federal government school feeding suffers setback. Pupils wait in vain for vendors. And that's all on the Punch paper this morning.
And now checking what we have on the Guardian paper, the banner headline reads, Nigeria's domain name fails to gain traction, attracts 184,341 users. And we have riders, businesses worry about inconsistent government policies. Another rider, INEC, banks, e-commerce firms, MDA still adopt .com, .net, .org. While country loses millions of dollars to foreign adoption. Okay, away from that story, that's an important business story that you may want to read. And away from that, Ohaneze Ndigbo, IPN, back power shift to Southeast in 2023. Another story reads, 500 northerners killed in 4 weeks, CNG claims. 7 crew missing, 3 alive, 1 body found after SEPCO fire. And then we have how to build Africa's healthcare defense system. That's coming from Adeshino. And finally, from the Guardian paper this morning, NIN-SIM linkage. Serap writes Buhari over security agencies' access to subscribers' details. That story is on page 2 of the Guardian paper, and that's all we have for you this morning on the newspaper headlines.
All right, Pep, just the story the last story you just mentioned, I was just about to talk about it. It's on the banner headline on the Punch says, NIMC portal breaks down banks, telecos, passport issue, and so far. And now there's the rider that caught my attention. The rider, one of the riders says, immigration, that's the second rider, immigration may rebook passport applicant appointment as glitch stalls NIN verification. Now, Serap just sued the presidency, right, over it's more like this database are porous. They are open to just anybody. If not, I don't understand how where this issue, the breakdown, the portal breakdown came from. Probably there's some trying to hack or something. So the security of this very vital information, how secured is it, and how secured as compared to how secured it's supposed to be, because this is a very important database of individuals in a country. In advanced countries, let's use one advanced countries, all you need to do is to type name or whatever, and the full database comes to your house address, where you're from, where you're born, your parents' name. So these are very vital information about people that could be used to do them harm if not properly guarded. So how That but the real question here is how secured are these informations compared to how secure they are actually supposed to be, which I think that's where Serap is coming from here. So what's your reaction on that?
Okay, for me, I think it's a good thing that someone is talking about it. It's a good thing that Serap is doing this. I mean, Serap will always do this and all of that. But then when it comes to the issue of cybersecurity, I think it's something Nigeria really has to take seriously. This is not the first time we're having this conversation about data security and all of that. Like you rightly said, we know the importance of data. We know the importance of data protection. These things should be protected because if care is not taken, a lot of things can be done with someone's data. I mean, anybody could frame me, anybody could do anything, and people could do a lot. There's so many things that could be done. People's monies could be tampered with, so many things. There are so many things that can be done once your data gets to the wrong person. And that's why it's important that while we are having all of these things, we also ensure that we have good security. I mean, we're able to protect these things because data is life, whether we like it or not. And like I said, I like the fact that Serap is actually doing something about it, and it's I hope that this is addressed. And from the story from the Punch newspaper that talks about the portal breakdown, there are so many things there are so many reasons why a portal could break down. And like you rightly said, it could just be because some persons are probably trying to hack into it, and then maybe from the back end they're also trying to protect that from happening, or there's a possibility that it has probably happened and they're trying to salvage what is left. So these are important things that should be handled properly and with care. We need to invest in cybersecurity. I want to believe the government is investing, but we really need to do more. I mean, when it comes to cybersecurity, when it comes to protecting data of people, we need to not play it the Nigerian way. I mean, the Nigerian way is to take things, to just allow things happen anyhow. The Nigerian way is to not take things seriously and to bring in nepotism and some other things in probably giving out contracts and all of that. But when it comes to security, data security, it's something we really need to take seriously and do it the way it should be. Now, this is the second time something like this is happening.
The first one was the e-portal that was up here. I know for this year now, the e-portal that was
I think that was late last year,
right? That it just came up and in less than 24 hours. We already had stories of that painted not so good image on the country after trying so much to the Naira portal and trying to get that together, and then you finally launched it.
Something
in a flash.
You would expect that when something comes on stream at that particular time, the security should be very tight.
We don't have so much time, but thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on this conversation. All right, I'm sure you enjoyed this conversation. Please do well to share your thoughts on our social media platforms and also the live chat below. We'll take a very short break now. When we come back, I won't let the cat out of the bag, but because we have a lot of amazing lineup of events for you this beautiful Monday morning. So please stay close to your television. We'll be right back.
Most people don't understand the magic of a perfect skin, the allure of a well-pampered skin. We bounce from skincare products to skincare products, from spa to spa. Looking for that ideal solution. I found the solution. And it's Blemiviv Skincare and Spa. My name is Neil, and I'm proud to be a part of the Blemiviv family.
Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services that meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery. Ooh.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash, quick delivery.
Oh boy, winning you was so easy.
I just couldn't stand those your powerful shots. That's what happened.
Really? Let's go to my place for dinner.
This fufu is so nice.
It's through unripe plantain flour.
True unripe plantain flour is delicious.
Yes, true unripe plantain flour is what I serve my husband for swallows. It's easy to prepare, fortified with vitamin A, low in sugar and cholesterol, rich in fiber that helps the heart, builds and strengthens the bone, and his energy level is boosted.
Through unripe plantain flour, no additives, 100% natural, a product of Pali Agro Products Nigeria. Through unripe plantain flour, available in all leading stores nationwide.
And now to the discussion segment this morning. The presidency has rebuked the Financial Times Africa editor, David Pilling, over an article on the Buhari regime published on January 31, 2022. In an open letter to the Editor of Financial Times, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, said the caricature of a government sleepwalking into a disaster. What is Nigerian's government for? January 31, 2022. It's predictable from a correspondent who jets briefly in and out of Nigeria on the same British Airways flight he so criticized. The fourth paragraph of the article said Buhari has overseen 2 terms of economic slump, rising debt and a calamitous increase in kidnapping and banditry. The one thing you might have thought a former general could control. Familiar candidates to replace him, mostly recycled old men, are already counting their money ahead of costly electoral marathon. It takes an estimated $2 billion to get the president elected. Those who will pay will expect to be paid back. Mazi, good morning. And joining us, so I almost omitted this part, joining us to make sense of this conversation, we have in the studio Mazi Chinedum Obioha. Good morning, Mazi, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Mazi.
Yeah,
Good to have
pleasure.
you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. So from the side of my eyes, I could see your reactions while I was reading that, especially the last statement that said those who would pay would expect to be paid back. So what's your reaction on what's happening with the Financial Times editor and the federal government?
Well, I think they are too fair to the government.
Oh, they are too fair to the
That's
government.
Financial Times.
Yes,
Okay.
they are
Wow.
too fair. In my own humble opinion, the report would have been more than that, worse than that. It was what we have witnessed for the past 6-7 years. I've never witnessed it in my life. So, the Nigerian government, I don't know. You see, when there is mistrust, where there is the credibility is not there, this is what the Nigerian government have lost: mistrust and credibility. They are not credible. The president that came on board with all promises, Nigerians either wrongly or rightfully thought that he would have replicated what he did during between 1998 and 1983 and 1985. Little do we know that it wasn't actually him doing it. It was his Lieutenant Idiabo. So it's unfortunate that we have found ourselves. Where do we start from? Is it the insecurity? Is it the corruption? Is it bad economy? What again? There's nothing to write home about. So the Financial Times is very, very fair.
You mentioning that it's very, very fair. But the Senior Special Assistant in person of Garbashare who made a statement and called that a caricature. So
that is his own language. It is more than caricature. That's what I mean by being fair. Otherwise, it would have been gone bad than that, worse than that. Because I don't see, my worry in this country is that people celebrate wrongs. People speak from both sides of their mouth. The situation we are today, was it the same situation we met or they met when they came on board? In Borno State, I've told you here, I've been in Borno State. I was in Borno State for, I was there between 1982 through 87. I left Borno State, I know this again. So during 2014 election, yes, 2014 election, Boko Haram was occupying 6 or 8 local governments in Borno State. And the then security advisor cautioned and advised that he will not guarantee the security situation there, that they should give them more time. 6 weeks were given, and they cleared that with the former chief of staff in Hijiroka, Lieutenant General Hijiroka. The same people criticized and attacked him that he was killing his people, and Hijiroka was retired compulsorily. Now, you interviewing me here, you in the studio, and those watching, what we are facing now, was it what we had in 2014, 2019 up to now? Insecurity everywhere. No one can go to sleep with 2 eyes closed, including our president cannot even go to his home state. Last week, the bandits killed 33 persons in Zamfara because they were unable to raise 40 million naira levy imposed on them. Have you ever listened? Have you ever heard that? The other time, a helicopter was shot down in Zamfara. The president home state, that's Katsina, is no longer safe. Where is safe in Nigeria? And then you are telling me that they are too fair to him. They are too fair.
All right.
You call it caricature. Which caricature? It's more than caricature.
I would come to a part where you would probably give your own description of the Nigerian government. But the title of this particular write-up is, What is Nigerian government for? In your own opinion, what exactly is government supposed to stand for in a society?
Now, the responsibility of any government is to protect life and properties. Life of the citizens and properties. Are we saying it today? Nobody's safe. What Nigerian government is supposed to do, the government in place is supposed to, one, provide security, shelter, the economy, and the security. But the opposite is the case. What are we experiencing? Now, the high cost of living, inflation has gone beyond the sky. Now, what are we benefiting? In fact, I make bold to say I'm surprised. I mean, I apologize for saying this. I am regretting being in Nigeria. I made it 2019 when this present government was elected, and my fans say I should withdraw it. But I did withdraw it that time. But now I'm repeating, because what I am seeing, I've never seen it. And this country is the worst country in the world.
Martin, what has coined your regret for someone who is at your age and experience, who has lived in literally every part of Nigeria, the northeast, you're from the west, you've stayed in the north, currently in the south, well, from the east rather, you've lived in the north, currently in the south, the west rather. And what has coined your regret over the years? Because you mentioned that it's nothing like you have seen before. We've had civil wars that lives were lost, and I'm sure you were around during those times. Lives were lost, properties destroyed. So would you say that this is the worst as compared to those times?
Yeah, this is the worst, because in those days, that's between 1966 through 1970, it was targeted to a particular section of the country. North was not affected, the west was not affected. But today, insecurity is all over. Nowhere is safe. The other day, I was with a colleague on Galaxy Television on Tuesday, and he showed me one of the Royal Highnesses was shot at Abia State, very close to Abia State University. Then what about even Biniore Road? Is it safe? What about Lagos Ibadan State? Is it safe? What about Auchi, Lagos, Auchi, Abuja Road? Is it safe? Nowhere is safe. But during the war, it was targeted to the former Eastern State. But then at that, people were going about their duties. People were going about their duties. The West, the North, they were living in peace and things. Food was everywhere. But here today, you two of you are ladies. Tell me before God and man that you have witnessed the high cost of living in Nigeria before. As it is now, can you buy a dedicated cup of rice? What is the cost of onions? Ordinary one. So you are telling me that anybody who said now is better, God will judge.
Okay, I understand where that is coming from. But basically, when we talk about Nigeria, we talk about insecurity, we talk about the economy and all this. How exactly can this be solved if the government is not living up to its responsibility? Whose job is it to ensure that the government does the right thing? Yeah,
it is the responsibility of the electorate. But unfortunately, like the reporter said, their conscience has been mortgaged because of poverty. You see, during the Civil War, let me come back to the Civil War. During the Civil War, the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo said the best instrument to fight the enemy is to starve them. Starvation. And that is, starvation means even poverty. When you are poor, you can't feed yourself. And that is what is happening. They know that even poverty, education, people are illiterate, especially in the North. They are just like zombies. Now, when you are poor, you can't feed yourself. You go for porridge. That's what is happening. The Nigerian electorate are now poor. And they elect the politicians, the greedy ones, have now capitalized on that the only way to buy their conscience is by starving, making them perpetual poor. so that when they come back to them, they'll still go. I think they are already on ground. They've started with their fake promises.
All right, we have the elites. What are the elites doing in the face of all of this? What can the elites? Because I am looking at a situation where we're not held to ransom by a group of people who we supposedly elected into office. I mean, we keep talking about these issues.
Were they actually elected? They were not elected. You see, when we come to talk about election, democracy, the government of the people, by the people, for the people. This government, is it for the people? Is it by the people? Is it for the people? They were not elected. They were imposed on us. They imposed themselves because they have the machineries. Why? They have the economy, they have the power, and they have the finance. The central bank was turned to the former governor of Lagos State. His house becomes the central bank. We all saw it. I was in the studio when Buhari was driven into his compound, and he was interviewed. He said, "Is there any wrong for him to have for the Buhari to come to his house? Has he stolen any money?" How can a sane person say something like that? Poverty is the key. I mean, illiteracy is the key, because they have refused the schools to work. Education has collapsed. Hospitals have collapsed. Have you even seen any of them? Mosquito bites that they run to America, they run to UK, they run overseas for treatment. Ordinary mosquito bite. But they've left our hospital, our health center in, I mean, I don't know how to describe it. To the point that you cannot go to the hospital and get proper medication.
Mazi, are you not afraid for Nigeria, saying that just recently I took a stock and I found out that almost all my friends have relocated to other countries, and then I intentionally put something on my status and I had a lot of responses, people telling me that they are planning theirs, and I'm like, if we all leave Nigeria, who will make Nigeria better? How can, because I intentionally ask you that question about what can we do? Is it that we're incapacitated by a few? Isn't there something concrete that can be done to put these people where they belong? Do we all have to leave this country?
The basic answer to it is that the constitution should be reviewed to give more power to the electorate. Secondly, the elites that are causing this problem, they should be checkmated. To me, those who have been in power from 1990, from 1960 now should not be in power. Most of them are still there. They've so amassed wealth that they
and
can...
power also.
Yes, and power that you cannot... Even the younger ones that are coming up now, do they have the power? Do they have the finance? So they continue to subject us to their own will.
But you know, politics is a game of numbers, and they use the tools of political parties. So how do we break that?
Let me tell you, Perpetua,
yes.
Let me tell you, the first point of rigging election is during the registration, and of course the census, where people who are the head of this department are in charge of this, because they give outrageous numbers to themselves so that they will continue to be. Election is by numbers. In the whole Southeast, we recorded, according to the statistics, 2 million votes or registered voters. 20 million. But while within the North, 19 states in the North, about 5 or 6 or 10 of them will give you that 20 million. How do you think you can? Because they planted themselves in a place of authority that they can always suppress us.
Mazi, you mentioned earlier, let me take you up on your statement you mentioned earlier. You mentioned they have the economy, the power, and the finance. Now, the question is, all of those things put together without the people, it is supposed to stand the whole water. Now, I said that to say this. When we look at the government, the leaders have done this, have done that, they are doing this and doing that. But we have people who are still willing and ready to sell their future of their kids and grandchildren for 5,000 naira for a bag of rice, less than a bag of rice, obviously. Not even a bag is even too much.
5 kilograms.
For 5 kilograms of rice, for Maggi or seasoning cubes,
6 pieces.
6 pieces and all of that. So it's the people. Because I believe no matter how powerful and educated or powerful, rich and everything these people are, without the will of them, if the people could stand together, we've had countries that have had revolution, not because they wanted to throw out their government. We had countries that say no, these people would go, and they would go. Look at what happened with Trump in the US. Not like of course, the people came together, majority, and said we wanted someone else, and it happened. So the power of the people where does the power of the people come in cases like this?
Yeah, the power of people comes in where there is unity.
Okay.
Because the government in power has made it difficult for Nigerians to be united. Look, if you read the book of Genesis, where the sons of men built the Tower of Babel.
Correct, yeah.
I was somewhere said that was what I preached. Power in unity. I said, come, let us build a tower to make name for ourselves. Unity. And they were doing it. They almost got to heaven. And God came and said, come and see what the sons of men are doing.
They could achieve that if you united.
So if we don't do something, they will achieve their aim. What did God do? God now disorganized their intention by scattering their languages. People's power have been mortgaged. We are not united. They now created what I will call divide and rule. Divide and rule. The North can no longer agree with the West. The West can no longer agree with the South. That is a problem. Until we come to the knowledge of understanding that power is important, we will not get it right. And look at what is happening now. People are clamoring. Give this presidential ticket to certain people. And these people who have been in power for the past how many years now say it is what is justice? There's no justice. There's no fairness. There's no equity.
Okay, I like the fact you mentioned this. Now it brings up to the next conversation. Now ahead of next year's general elections, particularly the presidential election, quite a number of names are emerging as contenders on the platform of the two major political parties. That's the All Progressive Congress (APC) and the leading opposition People's Democratic Party (PDP). Who is the president of Nigerians need in 2023? One of the top stories I'm happy you brought this up. Now, one of the top stories on the paper this morning, that's this day, it says, Nigeria needs young, energetic president in 2023, says Abdul Salami. And also, Financial Times, in their reports, they mentioned the fact that they have recycled old men still coming out and coming up for these elections. And an average, I think they mentioned an average amount to have an election is about $2 billion.
In dollars.
Now, the young people, imagine someone like me, young, energetic, the kind of president Nigeria needs. I have all the qualities, majority of the qualities. Do I have the money?
That's the point now. They've cornered your economy to their pockets.
So what do we do? Imagine someone Nigeria needs to don't have the money.
The same question on Tuesday, I was on Galaxy in their news, and they said the youths, that's what we discussed, the youths are now lobbying, begging, the same horns that are troubling Israel. That's what I call them. The same horns, the same people that have been there since years, since 80s, 90s. And my response is, the youth do not need to lobby anybody. They should go out there. Power is not by begging. But the important thing, the disadvantage they have is that they don't have the capacity to be there. Because the same people, the same old men I see there, they don't have the money. If money answers everything, though is the root of evil. But then, if you don't have money, like you said now, you have every quality, but you don't have money to pursue it. How can a governor purchase a nomination from how many millions? Which among the youth have such money? The youth are qualified. I read somewhere where somebody said that our president should not be anybody above 60. Fine and good. But those above 60, below 60, do they have the money? Where these people that have been there have embezzled the whole economy, crippled the economy. So that's the problem.
When we talk about money, really, how important is it in the scheme of things when it comes to winning an election? Maybe we need to understand the role money plays better so that we can begin to proffer solutions, because I understand that right now our constitution does not allow for independent candidacy. But really, if we're trying to proffer solutions, I believe we should be looking at every available option. What role does money play? How important is money? And how, if at all...
Nigerians value money because of poverty. People have mortgaged their account. You mentioned it. I during the insights, I went, even during the 2019, I went around to monitor things. And I went to a woman's shop And she just came back from campaign rally with broom. I don't want to mention the parties. With broom, now you should know. With broom and the rico of rice and some Maggie cubes and things like that. I said, madam, where are you coming from? He said, I have gone to collect my share. I said, madam, how much? He said, 2,000 naira with this. I said, if your eyes of understanding will be made manifest for you to know, appreciate what you have done, that you have mortgaged the future of your children. So money is important. But these youth didn't have the money. Corruption everywhere. Those in power have been there since 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Now they are still there. They've cornered all the economy. Nigeria, what is somebody doing with 1 billion naira? What is he going to do with it? Somebody. Look at the problem that we have among our youths. Ritual killings. Because of money. I discussed, that's why I slept around 2:30 this morning, because I was recording my program with Abia Broadcasting Corporation. The crazy for money with our youths. Get money quick, get rich quick. Money is real, and that is why it will be difficult, if not impossible, for any youth to rise up. To me, we need somebody who is credible, who has the interest of Nigeria at heart. We need selfless leaders. But can we find it among those people? All of them are coming out for themselves, for their own interests.
Okay, just before we go on ahead, I remember in that particular report, the writer, David Pillin, said something about Yemi Oshimbaju. What do you think about his candidates, if at all he decides
No, you see, our vice president, with due respect, within the 3 months, our president was not there. He did excellently well. I was in the studio then, 2019 and things like that. And I said, he is my candidate. He's supposed to be the president. But when his master came back, he nullified and canceled most of the things. He's a good person. But the fear of people is this. Look, let me tell you how they play it. The North, let me be bold to say it, nothing will happen. The North will not want somebody they will not pocket.
Okay, Mazi, I'll take you up on the statement you made earlier. Sorry to cut you. And you mentioned the fact that the youths are qualified, but they don't have the money. And now that brings me to the original concept. I say again, original concept of godfatherism. I understand that godfatherism has been the purpose of God being a political godfather has been
bankrolling.
Yeah, has been. I'm trying to get a word to use, but has been defeated now.
Okay.
The original purpose of godfatherism in politics. When you say someone's a godfather to you, I'm sure you have goddaughters or godsons.
Your mentor.
What is your role as a godfather? If I say, Mazi, you're my godfather, you're supposed to tell me,
it means
that you are wrong. Do this rightly.
Boldly looking at me face to face. I say, please, this is wrong. Morality is no longer there.
That's the original concept.
People are morally bankrupt. And they no longer fear their conscience. They don't have conscience because the Bible says their conscience has been seared.
All right, I just want to wrap up now. So the original concept of godfatherism in politics, like the word godfather, you just mentioned what it is. For someone who doesn't have the money, a political godfather, knowing fully well that this person is the right candidate, not being biased, not for what he would gain, I would support you. You are the right person for this. Go. When you need help, you come to me, you talk to me about it. I'll tell you when you're wrong or right. But now we see the godfatherism system.
But we have people like that now.
That's the original concept.
We don't have people like that
and
now.
And that would have helped the youth.
Let me tell you, with due respect, the former governor of Lagos State, he has been a kingmaker. He has made so many kings. Okay. But he wants to be king himself, which is wrong. The original intention of godfatherism is somebody who will call you and say, Mag, this is wrong, sit down. If I, as your father, cannot look at you and say, my son, my daughter, sit down, you are wrong, something is wrong. And that is what is happening. They are people, Bible says, they are people after their own stomach, after their own belly. Look at all the candidates that have come up now. They are going from one place to the other, seeking blessing. Either they will go to Obasanjo today, they will go to Babangida tomorrow, they will go to Oni of Ife, they will go to Oba of Lagos. And these our traditional rulers, give them blessing. I support you. And these people cannot tell. Look, some years ago, a Catholic prince in, I think, Anambra in Enugu State, asked one of the governors, please take back that donation. Go and use it to pay what? The civil servants their salaries. In Ghana, I saw it. The youth return bags of rice. We don't want rice. We want good governance.
All right. All right, Martin, thank you. That's a good place to say thank you for joining us. We don't want this, we want good governance. I'm sure you've listened to what Marcy said, and if you can inculcate this in your decisions. Elections are coming up. Do you have your permanent voters card? That's a big question you should ask yourself. Of course, someone said INEC does not count your tweets, doesn't count your retweets, doesn't count your comments on social media, doesn't count what you have in your heart, your agitations and your protests. What the INEC would count is your vote, and every vote does count. So I will take a very short break now. When we come back, we have a segment to wrap up the show this beautiful Monday morning. So stay with us. Glad to have you back. This is still live on Daybreak, and now it's time to bring you up to speed with what's happening in the world of sports. You all know what's happening already. The recent and most talked about. Social media is buzzing with it, but we have the sports guy with us to give us this conversation. Good morning, Samson.
Good morning, Margaret.
You look dashing. Like Perpetua, doesn't he look?
He does.
Like a newly married.
He actually looks it. That's true. And I love this shirt. I think I've said it before. I have to say it again.
What are you saying amen for?
Wait, what's amen? What are you claiming?
To marry, something you just woke up to again and tell marry me, say amen. Okay,
tell
us what's
happening. You may be a prophet speaking now, you know.
Oh, okay, but I'm not the one you're going to do that
probably the right person will come and, you know.
All right, then.
Otherwise, good morning. It's good to see you guys again. Definitely the world of sports, and it's the African Cup of Nations, the 33rd edition that ended last night with Senegal winning their maiden AFCON title. Sadio Mane winning the final sports kick for Senegal to lift them through after 60 years of heartbreak. It must be said that it was an entertaining affair. Talking about the final, Senegal started like a house on fire, had a penalty early on in the game within the first 5 minutes. Sadio Mane missed that, but was able to redeem himself, you know, during the penalty shootout. For Egypt, it's the second successive final they've lost in final appearances. Remember, they lost in 2017 when they played hosted and also played Cameroon in the final. So Sadio, for Egypt, they're yet to extend their record of 7 AFCON titles, while for Senegal, it's a good one, talking about winning the first one. And Sadio Mane had to emerge as the MVP of the tournament, having scored 3 goals and also registered 2 assists to lead Senegal to a title. But it was not only Sadio Mane who won, you know, individual awards for Senegal. You had the goalkeeper, Edward Mendy, also emerging as the best goalkeeper of the tournament. And there was a bit of debate regards should it be Mendy or the Egyptian goalkeeper Gabaski, who had a phenomenal run, you know, into the finals, saved 4 penalties and wrote, you know, the penalty shootout. But regardless, you have 2 top goalkeepers, and what they've run, it's been from Mendy as well, who achieved so much with Chelsea, you know, over the last 1 year. While you had the Cameroonian captain Vincent Abubakar emerge as the top scorer with 8 goals. That's the second highest total when it comes to the African Cup of Nations within a single tournament. I think overall, we saw the best of African football. It was competitive. There were rash tackles, no doubt. Maybe a bit of bad officiating at times, especially early on, you know, during the tournament. But
that was addressed.
You know, that was addressed. At the end of the day, it delivered, you know. Having been postponed twice and also last year due to COVID, we finally had the African Cup of Nations, and despite security concerns in Cameroon, I think we can confidently say that Cameroon hosted a very good tournament, and we hope that next year's tournament in Ivory Coast will also be as spectacular and even better than we've witnessed, in Cameroon. Overall, you have to give kudos to Senegal. They deserved it.
They deserved it.
Unbeaten run, and it's just.
But that game was too long.
Yeah, 120 minutes because it went into extra time. It went into extra time, and you have to give kudos to the players because the physicality within African football, it demands so much on the body, the wear and tear, and for their efforts, Senegal go home with $5 million, which is the prize money for the winners. Last edition, the one in 2019, which Algeria won, they went home with $4.5 million. So there's $500,000 increase. Yes, it may not be enough to build maybe a football stadium, but definitely it's something, in terms of addressing other football infrastructure, like, maybe football academies or what have you. So I think it's well deserved, and let's see how, they fare going forward. Now, for football lovers, that's not the end of the, rivalry between Egypt and Senegal. They've played in the final. They will play next month over 2 legs. Both teams will face off, in the final World Cup qualifier. So whoever wins over 2 legs will definitely represent Africa at Qatar 2020 World Cup in November.
Let's talk about these Egyptian players. I know they didn't win, but then there's something about I don't know, is it just me? These Egyptian players, they really did a great job. If you ask me, they did a great job. Like if even Senegal don't win this, or they didn't win this, right, I would have felt I would have still given them kudos because they did a great job. I could see now the tensions at some point were high, but later it stabilized, and everybody was just, even though I don't know what happened later on, but then from the beginning of the tournament, it did Egyptian players. There's something about them. That's why when Nigeria even. When Nigeria won, people didn't believe.
We didn't expect.
We didn't expect to win Egypt.
We didn't expect. I think the Egyptians this time around came with a different mindset. Oftentimes in African football, North African teams are known to be offensive when it comes to attacking plays and all of that. Flair football, something football enthusiasts call tiki-taka. That's the way they play. But the Egyptians this tournament, they were more defensive minded. I don't know if it had to do with Carlos Queiroz, being the manager, as well as Goma being the assistant. But they were more defensive-minded. They lost to Nigeria by a lone goal. The second and third matches of the group stage, they won by a lone goal. And when you have, a player like Salah, you have Trezeguet, you expect more goals to be scored. They didn't. Even the knockout stages against Ivory Coast in round of 16, they played goalless, had to rely on penalties, shootouts. In the quarterfinals against Morocco, it was 2-1, but that was in extra time. And against Cameroon in semi-final, it was also goalless.
Football, if we talk about it, we'll keep talking and talking. But for the one time, we just wrap up the football segment and go straight into the social media. But I'm sure they really want to. I can feel the viewers telling me, no, I want to hear Senegal football. Don't worry, the arena is coming up later in the day. You will have all you need to know in the world of sports. So don't go anywhere from iBrandTV. All right, now the social media boards. Okay, stories like this, I do not like to read them. Perpetual. What do you think? All right, someone said, hide my ID. My husband acquired some properties before we got married, and right now he isn't ready to put them in my name, okay? We've been married since August 2021, almost 7 months now. He has refused to change ownership or at least include me in his properties. I'm not wishing him bad, but with the way young men are dying, what if anything happens to him, okay? His lands are in his name, and he handed papers to his mom. Please, how do I handle it? And a response came and said, if you eventually die, is there something to inherit from you by him? And nothing to inherit, Ma, she said. Understand me as a woman. Don't pregnant yet, but don't have rights to my husband's property as his wife. Okay, what I'm trying to say, I'm not pregnant yet, but does that mean I don't have my husband's rights to my husband's property as his wife? What if something happens to him? He's 42 and 29. Someone responded, you want to kill him? And she said, Ma, you are difficult tonight. Okay, a response to that said, Claire, stretch mark, said, marriage never reach 1 year, you don't drag ownership. When you yourself have nothing someone can inherit. Go and make money and stop looking for young people that will die. I wonder if you are not younger than your husband. Oh, the next response said, Omo, wahala no dey finish. I beg rest, body jaw. Nobody will leave this world alive even if them read them to you, you'll still die and leave it. Nobody has that timetable. What if you die before him? And the one said, Jesus, which kind of wife be this? That's from Edit. I am Edit. Which kind of wife be this now? this man, I'm trying to get this correct, sorry. This man,
This man better be careful.
People, they pray for long life with their husbands. See this one's prayers. I am really tempted to see her angle as a wife, right? Her fears as a wife. But I'm more interested in the fact that it's 7 months in marriage. I understand that some men like to build a level of trust first. You are 7 months in marriage. Some people may not even build anything to you, or even
for crying out loud, what
wow.
she's even saying is that the property is in his name. I don't think I have a problem with that. A property could be in your name, but do you know who the property is willed to?
Do you know his next? I am particularly about, madam, calm down. You are 7 months in marriage, and the fact that you don't even have anything.
Well,
what's wrong with making your money for yourself? I'm always about making money for yourself as a woman. You don't need to be dragging anybody's properties with them. That's the point.
There's the place of being mindful or observant of what she said, talking about the rate at which young men die these days.
Okay.
It shows you the level of, should I say, mistrust, or that is between them. There's no love, so to speak. Are you wishing that your husband should die at a tender age? Moreover, there is a backstory that has to do with the husband suffering from kidney failure. And she's aware of that. He's set to go on a transplant and all of that. Now, again, it calls into question the issue of, trust, not just in terms of relationships or marriages, but trust in terms of properties, assets. You know, this whole debate about next of kin and all of that. That's where she's coming from. That the husband is not making her the next of kin. You know, she has to have things in her name as well, despite the fact that they're just 7 months into the marriage. Again, you could always argue for and against that. Oh, okay, your spouse should be your next of kin. You know, should also have their names with on your properties and all of that, the documents. But my concern is she, just presuming or wishing that the man will go away very soon.
She's not wishing. She's just fearful. Maybe she's
that he might. All right, I'm sure we have a lot of things to talk about this morning. I really don't want to go, but then we have to go. Something. What do you think?
Oh no,
we have to go. Professional, right?
Well, that's why it is time constraint.
All right, time constraint. Why, for the want of time, we'll just run it through the quote for the day. It's a Monday morning. Come on. All right, the quote says, "If you're not within 2 weeks to usual, you would have to settle for the ordinary." Take that again. If you're not willing 2 weeks to usual, you'd have to settle for the ordinary. That's from Jim Rohn. I don't like to settle for ordinary things because I'm not ordinary. So I'm sure you're not ordinary too. So you just have to take risks because life in itself is risky. That's the motivational quote from Margaret, the motivational speaker. And at this point, we're going to wrap. Please do well to join us tomorrow. Fresh new episode. It's always fresh every day, and without you there's no iBrandTV, you know that. Please do well to join us and don't tune out from Start Time channel 143. Please stay with us. All right, thank you so much for joining us once more. My name is Margaret Opara.
And I am Perpetua Fasumi Peter. Bye for now.
And I'm Samson Olede. Do have a wonderful day.